Paul, verse 6, he that regardeth the day regardeth it unto the Lord, and he regardeth not the day. Oh, to the Lord he doth not regard it. He that eateth, eateth to the Lord, for he giveth God thanks. And he that eateth not, to the Lord he eateth not, and giveth God thanks. For none of us liveth to himself, and no man dieth to himself. For whether we live unto the Lord, and whether we die unto the Lord. Whether we live, therefore, or die, we are the Lord's. Yes. Now, there's there's this thought that I actually belong to Christ. Yes. A long time ago. Yeah. Must have been 25 years ago. I spent quite a bit of time studying these different saints. Yes. See, I'd met this man named Michael Skelton. I was living in Spokane. I was maybe 21, 22 years old, and I was stoned. Yes, I was high on marijuana. I had been smoking marijuana. Well, I approached him because he had a landscaping service, and I was one of those that thought, well, maybe I'll get a job there. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. Doesn't really matter. Might as well ask him. Yeah. And I approached him and he said, you know what? Have you been reading magazines that you should not be reading? Oh. And I thought, oh, pornographic magazines? Yeah. I have seen a lot of pictures of a lot of naked women, probably hundreds of thousands of them. I mean, if I went to great detail about how many actual pornographic magazines I've seen and purchased, not very good. But I was in my early 20s. He said, well, do you know the best thing you can be in life? No, I didn't. I had moved quite a few different times. Yes. He said, you could be a saint. Oh, and I thought, I had never thought of that. Yes. Well, what is a saint? Well, I asked him, what do I have to do? He said, you have to read the Bible an hour a day. Oh, and it had to be the King James Version. Yes. And I asked him, do I have to go to any church? Yes. He said, nope. You just read the Bible an hour a day, make sure it's the King James Version, and you could be a saint. Well, since I didn't know about these saints, yeah, I decided to research them. Ooch. And it seemed that in Catholicism, yeah, they had most of them for the first 1500 years of Christianity until Martin Luther came along and he was called a Protestant. Well, for approximately 3 to 4 years, the Bible never left my person. Yes, I read the Bible an hour a day, then a couple hours a day. Pooch. Then I was reading the Bible all the time. Pooch. And then I began to notice certain things take place in my own physical life. Yes, where I had some faith. Now, faith is something that is useful to those that have it. Yes, because when you understand it, it's very, very useful. Now, for all of you that thought you'd be saints, yeah, you're not going to be able to do that unless you read the Bible. Well, I'm just telling you, it won't work. You might as well just forget about it. See, it was the 10 years before marriage. Yeah. It was the reading of all those personal life stories of the very saints of Catholicism. Yes. That gave me the understanding that a lot of these persons, they really weren't as nice as you thought. I mean, they seemed peaceful. Yes. They always make it sound like animals are attracted to them, or they were doing all these good things for poor people, all the lepers, yes, the hungry, the individuals that don't have a place to live. Huh. But my personal experience was that some of them could be very obstructive to any sort of corruption. Yeah. Now, let's say, yes, that I spent years studying the saints, yes, and reading the Bible. Then I began to notice some other things. Yes. Sometimes it's best not to keep your faith on your sleeve. Yes. You know, I'm not here to impress you. Yes. But I have an immense amount of faith. Now, for every Catholic that thinks I need a little more faith, why don't you pray for me today? Why don't you pray that we remove all the corruption of the United States government? Yeah, and we put them all in prison. Oh, Now, wouldn't that be something? Living in a nation where there's no corruption, no corruption.